Hey everyone, so Giles here, and today I'm going to cover why in most cases HIIT or HIIT or high intensity interval training is usually SHIIT. Alright, so stay tuned. Before we get started, if you're not subscribed to my channel, subscribe to the channel, alright, and hit the bell notification icon. I'm going to do this at the start of the video so I don't forget at the end of it, alright? And do follow me on Instagram, it goes a long way. So I'll be posting all my links below, alright? So yeah, if you like me and if you want to see more of me, give me more support. Cool? Alright, that being said, I'm going to take you through a few examples of what is commonly known as HIIT. Alright, so here's example number 1, and I want you to decide, are any of these HIIT as I'm going through the variations. Alright, so variation 1, you're jogging for 30 seconds. Alright, after you're done jogging for 30 seconds, you might probably be doing 30 seconds of push-ups. Okay, after your 30 seconds of push-ups, you're probably taking a break for a minute. Alright, and then you're back to jogging for 30 seconds. Then you're probably doing 30 seconds of squats. Okay, do not squat like this. Okay, I'll make another video on how to squat later on. It's going to be an amazing squatting video. Okay, so again, back to this video. Okay, so you've done your 30 seconds of squats. You're again waiting for 30 seconds to a minute to recover, and you repeat for multiple sets of multiple reps. Okay, example number 2. I'll up the intensity a little bit. Say I'm doing broad jumps. Okay, so I'll do one broad jump, run back, I'll do another broad jump, I'll run back, and do another broad jump. Okay, so I might do around 10 to 15 broad jumps, rest for a minute, catch my breath, again repeat the broad jumps for multiple sets of multiple reps. Okay, here's another example. Alright, I'll up the intensity even a little more. Okay, so say I'll use a broad jump into a tuck jump. Okay, I can't obviously go to my maximum jumps here. So broad jump, tuck jump, back. Broad jump, tuck jump, back. Broad jump, tuck jump, back. Alright, so say I'll do a few repetitions of these. Again, I'll rest for like 30 seconds to a minute, so it's okay, and I repeat for multiple sets of multiple reps. Okay, so out of those above examples, obviously the third variation was quite intense, alright, but at the end of the day, none of those variations were true HIIT. Okay, whatever I showed you so far were examples of this other mode of training called Tabata training, which is where you go at a certain intensity, not extremely high intensity at most times, and I'll tell you why Tabata training cannot be considered high intensity interval training. Alright, so that's usually called Tabata training, where you go at a reasonable intensity, take a break, go at a reasonable intensity, and take a break, and repeat. So now that you know what Tabata training is, I'm going to tell you what true HIIT looks like. Alright, so I'm going to just make you imagine this situation, okay, because I got a whole video to cover and I don't want to be out of breath for it. Okay, so when it comes to true HIIT training, I want you to picture yourself on a track, okay, a nice track, a 400-meter track, and you decide to start from the starting point, obviously, and you want to try and run as quickly as you can from the starting point to the end, which is the 400 meters. You want to try to complete it in as little time as you possibly can. Okay, you're going extremely hard, you are not keeping anything in the tank. Okay, you're not saving, you're not resting for intervals, you're not whatever. Those 400 meters are all that your life is about for that short period of time. And say after a minute or after 50 seconds, when you're done with your 400 meters, you rest. Okay, because at the end of it, if you've truly given it your all, if you've truly given it your 100%, at the end of the 400 meters, you will probably be, or you could have been like on the ground, or you could have been like, feeling like you want to throw up, or you name it, because you have truly given it your all. Now, say after you've truly given it your all in that regard, do you think if someone comes to you and says, hey, you have just a minute to recover and you have to do it again, do you think you'll be doing it again? I don't think so. I think you'll probably just get up and punch that person in the face, if you can get up, that is, okay? So another example of what true HIIT could be, even with the broad jumps, okay? Say for example, I was going at a maximal effort to cover out a period, to cover out a certain amount of distance, which is, say if I had a 100-meter track and I gave myself a challenge, Giles, today you are going to try and broad jump the entire length of this 100-meter track in as little time as you can, with as few jumps as you can, which means I am trying to jump my maximum jump for those 100 meters. Okay, it's an extremely intense activity. It's almost no chance you will be able to rest for 30 seconds and then go again into that kind of an intense zone. Alright, so true HIIT doesn't require 30-second intervals to rest, 1 minute interval to rest. True HIIT actually requires you to properly rest between the intervals that you are going to be training. Okay, so anyone that's telling you, do X amount for like a minute, do Y amount for a rest minute, do X amount again for another minute, again rest for a minute, that's not true HIIT. That could be in the zone of functional training or Tabata training, or you name it. Okay, so now that being said, let me bring it back to what true HIIT does to your body. Now, in order to push yourself to that extreme in that much amount of time, to put that much of force onto your system, okay, true HIIT requires you to, you're performing at your maximum. The amount of stress it puts on your body is crazy, okay? So when you go ahead and put that much stress on your body, you need to be asking yourself, what are you training for? Okay, you as a regular person watching this video, you are training for general fitness. Your day is not like an athlete's day. Your day shouldn't be like an athlete training, okay? You cannot be living a sedentary lifestyle 90% of the time, or 99% of the time, and then going to the gym and trying to go as hard as you can go. Alright? What you need to train for is not performance, it's longevity and fitness. Okay, so anybody telling you to go hard without teaching you how to safely go hard is full of shit. Okay, hence why most HIIT is SHIT. Yeah, so anyone telling you to go hard without the knowledge of how to do it, without the knowledge of how to do it safely, is full of shit and is putting you at tremendous risk of getting injured. Okay, because the amount of shear forces that are puts on all your joints, on all your tendons, when you truly go to your maximal effort is crazy, and you shouldn't be doing that for general fitness. Yeah. So, and what happens most of the time is, people who probably go to a functional training pit or a CrossFit area or a boot camp area, what ends up happening is, you end up living your whole life. Okay, so say for example, I'm going to give you an example of like a regular person's day. They sit down like this when they go to the toilet. They sit down like this when they are having their breakfast. They sit down like this to travel in their to travel to work. At work, they're constantly sitting down the same way. They sit in the same way for lunch. They go back to sitting the same way. They go back after finishing their work. They'll end up, say, their leisure time, they're sitting the same way to watch TV or watch whatever you're watching, or watch my videos on YouTube. And then after they've sat down the entire day, they've taken their body from an extremely sedentary lifestyle and pushed it directly into a high intensity zone of training with the battle ropes and the clap push-ups and the burpees and the snatches for multiple reps or multiple sets. That's stupid training. Okay, You cannot take your body from being sedentary all the time to going directly into an athletic performance zone of training. It's not healthy, it's not safe. Bringing it back to athletes, okay? I'm going to tell you the common seasons that athletes have. Okay, an athlete has an off season, a pre-season, an in-season, and an active recovery season. Then they go back to an off season. I'm going to explain these seasons to you, and I'm going to tell you why you are training incorrectly. Okay, so first I'm just going to check if my camera is still recording. Yeah, sorry about that. I need to keep checking if my camera is recording, because then I'm doing all this on my phone camera and it tends to overheat. And then when it tends to overheat, I have made an entire 20-minute video and only 5 minutes of the video has been recorded, and that's very sad and it makes me want to cry. Okay, just like how SHIT training makes me want to cry. Okay, so bringing it back to athletes and athletic zones of training. Okay, so most athletes have this period called an off season. Now, as an athlete, your goal in the off season is to build strength in your muscles and to build hypertrophy, which is muscle size. Okay, so you're building strength and you're building muscle size. That's mostly all you're doing during your off season. Okay, so you're going to be doing sets of 12 to 15 repetitions, etc., etc., etc. for all your lifts, and you're trying to slowly get into a place where your strength is really high, and after your hypertrophy phase, you're like, you maintain a good balance. Okay, more strength, less hypertrophy, depending on the sport you are. There are multiple sports, blah 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 blah. But just keep in mind, off season usually equals strength and hypertrophy zone of training. Okay, now as we slowly start moving closer and closer to where the season of the athletic event happens, okay, you go from off season training to a pre-season training. Okay, a pre-season training takes the foundations you've built in the off season and it uses it to slowly start adding skill and technique related to the sport that they are doing. Okay, so for example, if it's wrestling, okay, the strength that they've built up, they will maintain it during the pre-season, and while they are maintaining strength, the amount of time they spend training strength will start going down, while the amount of time they start using that strength and training technique goes up. Okay, then as the event gets closer, their strength training drops lesser and lesser and lesser. They get more technical with their training, and it's called this time of training where people peak. Okay, so now you peak just before your event. Now these events tend to last for say 2 weeks, or it lasts for say a month. Alright, so all the strength that they've made in the off training zone, okay, with all the conditioning, etc., 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 with all the technique that they've put in during the pre-season zone, during the pre-season training zone, okay, where they are maintaining the strength, where they are maintaining the hypertrophy, but they are adding more technique into it, slowly tapering off into a place where they drop more strength training and they only go towards more technique training, and then comes the in-season, where their season starts. They've taken the off-season conditioning, pre-season critical training, and now it's time for them to do their event. This is where they are truly performing with an amazing foundation and technical know-how of what they are doing during their season. Okay, now they will carry all that through their in-season time, and after their season ends, there is a season what's normally known as your post-season active recovery season. Alright, so now this season lasts for another month or 2 months of the year, depending on sport, depending on whatever. Alright, in this season, these athletes only heal the injuries that they could have probably gotten during the entire 6 months that they've been doing what they're doing, or during the event that they're doing. Say for wrestling again, if I've twisted something, it's during this active recovery season is where they fix all those niggles that their body has, is where they fix all the injuries that they have, and they prepare their body for another safe off season of training. So that's a normal athlete's training program in a nutshell. Now you as a regular person, okay, if you're living a sedentary lifestyle and every evening or every morning before your work, after your work, you name it, you are going to the gym and you are going as hard as you can possibly go with multiple reps of snatches, multiple reps of sprinting, multiple reps of broad jumps, multiple reps of X, Y, and Z, you are technically putting the same forces on your body as an athlete would put, who's almost in the pre-season, in-season time of their training. But the thing is, you have no seasons, so you are doing this day in and day out, year in to year out, and you're doing this every day, and you are training like an athlete who is constantly performing without getting the active rest, without healing your injuries. You're just pushing your body, pushing your body, pushing your body, and that's not training, that's abuse. Okay, even your pro athletes do not abuse their bodies because they truly understand, how important it is to have a healthy body. So what you see on television, when you see these athletes advertise for something, etc., 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 it motivates you to do something, yes. But what you really need to do is be motivated to make healthy, safe choices for yourself. Okay? So that out of the picture, I'm going to give you an example of what you should do to train right after I check my phone. Okay, so that out of the picture, you might be wondering what you could do for your training now. So the first thing you could do is ask yourself why you are training and what are your goals. Okay, if I was training as someone's grandparent, I know for a fact that their goals involve maintaining healthy balance, because most grandparents have very older folk have that problem of slipping and falling or losing their balance and falling, which leads to worse complications in the future. Or the other thing that they could probably have is suffering from your arthritis, osteoporosis, etc. So I'll try to give them a program where we can maintain healthy balance but also add that kind of structural strength in their body where they can live as longer healthy life as they can possibly live. Now for most of you watching this video, your goals are to firstly build consistency, okay, to build a fitness lifestyle that you could follow consistently, okay, without getting hurt, without getting injured, without having to take breaks, because every time you take a break from training, it just means that you're not training, okay? So it's not adding consistency, it's making you go hard, and if you're going hard, getting injured, that's not real training, okay? Your training needs to be consistent. Keep this in mind though, I am not giving anyone here an excuse to not working hard. You need to work hard at anything you want to do in life. You need to work hard, but you also need to work safely and efficiently, okay? Now, a lot of people will say, yeah, but Jayaz, high intensity interval training gives me the whole afterburn effect and this and that and that. To which my reply is, is it more beneficial to go hard 3-4 times a week where you're going balls to the wall with your training, risking getting hurt, risking getting injured just for the sake of a little more afterburn? No. What you actually need to be doing is building a lifestyle where you can train almost every day safely, building a lifestyle where you can add moderate paced intensity into your workouts, but as you get better and more efficient at doing these moderate paced workouts, you can do more moderate paced workouts, okay, without putting that much strain on your body. What you need to do is, like, in the long run, you end up gaining a lot more by taking a few steps back, building amazing technical know-how on how to do your lifts, building extremely good technical know-how on how to run safely, what's your gait, etc. Building extremely good technical know-how on what your body is capable of doing, what it should be doing, what are your injuries, how you could heal your injuries. For most of the people watching this video, the main things you need to keep in mind is learning your structural lifts, okay, learning your body weight training, okay, so from push-ups, pull-ups, all those exercises that help you with those things, and doing some cardio, because you need to be training the one muscle that supplies blood all over your body to all the other working muscles, and your head and your, not that head, I mean this head, okay, to your brain, and to keep everything functioning well. Yeah, so do your cardio, do your structural lifts, okay, your deadlift, squat, etc., etc., etc. I mentioned it in a previous video. Learn your body weight movements as well, push up, pull up, you name it, squat, all your basic body weight movements. Learn to do them safely, learn to do them, then take that safety and start doing it consistently. Put in the hard work, okay, do your cardio, and that's all you should be doing. Leave the high intensity interval training to your pro athletes, etc., etc., etc. Sure, it's a lot of fun to do if training is something that you truly enjoy. It is fun to push your body every now and then. But even if you are going to do true HIIT, make sure you do it once a week or once every 10 days. Okay, make sure you're not doing it every single day. Make sure you're not doing it every single training, protocol that you follow, every single alternate day or something like that, or 4-5 times a week. Because that just puts your risk of injury too high, and every time you get hurt, that's time spent off training. Okay, most people who follow all these sorts of boot camp workouts and you name it, most of them are all injured people. If you look at it, all of them have their injuries, all of them have their whatever. I train HIIT, and I also train other things, and the amount of times I've gotten hurt doing those things are very, very low. Like seriously, I keep my body extremely safe with whatever I do, because I know that if you're responsible with your body, it's your one true home. So you need to be responsible with your body. Okay, you can't keep getting injured, you can't keep living with chronic pain, etc. And instead of just going hard and going home and end up staying home, okay, it's better to go moderately easy and build efficiency into that moderate pace, and do a little bit of something every day. Cool. I hope that answered all your questions, and if you ever had questions to begin with. But if this video helped you and you want to ask or find out more about fitness from my point of view and from the things I have to say, make sure you make a comment. Okay, I'll add it to the videos that I would like to make. And thank you for tuning in. I hope this video has been beneficial to you. Yeah, have a good day and have a good life as well. Bye bye.